Good morning. It is Saturday, October 15th. We are halfway through the month of October, and we've got some Preptobering to do today. First things first, my hair is wet. Why? I was about to dry it, and I turned on my hair dryer and it sounded like this. I decided it was probably safe not to use it. So I braided it. I feel like I look very severe. But anyway, it is just about 9:30. I am going to go ahead and pull up all of my documents and outlines and all of the things and get to work here in just a second. I've done a little bit of work on it over the past week. Not a ton. There were some days where I was reading some of my history books just to continue educating myself about the time period and all that kind of thing. She is looking at the dangling camera strap like she's about to jump at it. Are you gonna get it, Jade? Are you gonna get it? Yeah, so I have been reading quite a bit. I did a little bit of work in the outline, just sort of looking over some of those scenes I mentioned last week where something just wasn't quite right about them. So I do need to continue working through a few more of those scenes just to make sure everything is lined up as well as I can make it line up at this point. And then what else do I want to do today? I might start some work on secondary characters. I wanted to go through the character profile questionnaire thing that I talked about in that last video, this one, and work on some of the secondary characters because I feel like when I read books where the secondary characters are also super compelling, that makes it even better. And since I'm, at this point, planning in a lot of the characters to be the heroes or heroines of future books, it would make sense to make them interesting for the reader. Also, I saw a good tip on Courtney Snyder's channel. I'll link her below. She's a relatively new author tuber. I would definitely check her out, though, because she's writing a YA fantasy pirate romance. I don't need to know any more than that, frankly, but I'll link her below and I'll link the video I'm talking about below. But she had a really great idea, or just a little tip or something she's doing, where she said she is trying to think of the opening image for each of her scenes, which I thought was a really cool idea, something that could be very helpful. So I'm going to try to brainstorm some of that. One of the things that I'm not quite sure of at this point is the opening scene, like where exactly I want it to start. Typically for me, when I have an idea for a story, one of the first things that I will think of is like where the story starts and, you know, some exciting moment to start it or some way to really draw the reader in, and I don't have a great idea yet for this one, so maybe a little bit of brainstorming on that front will help too. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get all my stuff pulled up over here and get going. Also, in case you missed it, I did post a writing music playlist if you're interested in checking it out. It's just all the different like videos, playlist stuff that I tend to use when I'm trying to write. So we've got Gallery Furniture there. Not sponsored. Anyway, it's got stuff just like chill music and stuff, some video game soundtracks that I like. Obviously, we're having some Zelda in here. And then just other ones that are like fireplace sounds in the medieval tavern and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll link it below if you are needing some writing music for yourself. Today, I think I feel like maybe the sunrise chill. Yeah, that's good. All right, let me get my outline pulled up here. And we'll dive back into this. Okay, so one of the things I'm kind of I need to mess with this somehow. There's a bunch of stuff happening toward the end, and it's just not quite right. There's information that needs to get to different people who are in different areas of the country. I don't even know how to explain it without like telling you the entire story, which I'm not gonna do. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's just like certain events need to take place within a time frame that's going to actually make sense and be real. If someone is getting news in London on Monday, somebody in northern England is not going to get the same news like a day later. Like, it didn't work like that. So I'm just trying to figure out like how to reorganize some of these scenes so that they make logical sense. But there's quite a few of these scenes I think I need to fiddle with their order. So let's get to fiddling. You know, the other thing I need to do that I've like kind of forgotten about? I need to do my calendar. You know, I love making a calendar for when everything is happening. Especially this end portion. I think is gonna, this is really, I'm reading over all these different scenes and I'm like, how does this fit together? So a calendar is definitely, I need that for sure to make sure that like date-wise all of this lines up. Yeah, this is not, it's just tricky. It's just tricky. Okay, so I've just added a few things to this calendar I printed out for myself because this is what I do. I added just a few dates that were like historical dates that are like not gonna change. I put those in pen. England really had a lot going on. My gosh, they had the Peninsular Wars against Napoleon. They're in the middle of that. The U.S. declares war against the U.K. for the War of 1812. Their prime minister is assassinated in May. Like, there's the Luddite rebellions going on. This was a crazy time in their history, my goodness. Anyway, so I've got that down. Let me go ahead and start plugging in some dates for, like, my story. This is not what I planned to do today. But here I am, and this is what I'm gonna do. Okay. This is helpful, but also frustrating because I'm like, oh my gosh. However, I will say that the assassination of the Prime Minister in May of 1812 is actually going to be a really fun little detail to add. Fun, that's horrible. It'll be a little detail I can add in, and it actually is going to be a help in how to structure this ending and like when things are going to happen. So, that's good, I guess. I'm still working through these ending bits. I'm looking at May and June of 1812. I haven't even touched the beginning of the year. Why do I do this? Why? It's so it's realistic. It's so that all the timing works out. It's so hard because it's so hard to figure out because, like, obviously nowadays, if I was like, oh, these two people need to travel from this place to this place, or they need to mail a package from this place to this place, like, I know how long that takes. I don't know how long that takes in 1812. How long does it take a horse-drawn stagecoach to get from London to Carlisle? I don't know. I gotta look it up. Does mail travel the same kind of speed? Is it faster? Is it slower? If she mails a letter at the beginning of the month, is someone going to get it in like 4 days, or are they going to get it like in 2 weeks? I don't know. But that matters. It matters. I have to know. It has to be real. So anyway, that's what I've been working on. It is coming together. It's just slow. So it's about noon right now. I'm not actually super hungry though, so I'm not going to mess with lunch at the moment. I'm very motivated to like keep working through this calendar stuff. So I'm going to keep going on this. hopefully figure out the end of this book. I'm a little nervous though that the rest of the book, I'm not sure like where things are going to start. Because in my head, I was imagining, oh, it's going to start in like mid-January kind of time frame. Because that was the beginning of the season that year. But I don't know if I have like 4 months of stuff that happens before all this ending stuff starts happening in May. And it does have to happen in May. Like that has to work out that way for other reasons. Anyway, let me just focus on this. May and June of 1812 and see what I can figure out. I've been interrupted. Yeah. Okay, so good news. I think I figured out Act 4. Fingers crossed. I'm now going back through like Act 3 and Act 2. It's going good so far. This part is a little more like set, like I'm pretty sure of the series of events. And there's a lot more like, okay, clearly this is taking place on this day and this is taking place the day before or a week before or whatever. So this part isn't as bad. It's almost 1 o'clock now. I am getting hungry. I think I should be able to finish this calendar stuff before the lunch stuff is ready. And then we can take a little break and come back to this.
You look so cozy. You big cozy girl? Yeah, you're being a good girl, Jade. That's right.
Okay, so I'm getting some lunch ready here, and I finished going backwards through my timeline and actually putting it on the calendar. It worked. I definitely need to redo like not all of Act 4, but just sort of like rearrange some things. And I thought of some new scenes that could be added in to add some different kinds of tension, which could be good. The first scene now takes place at the beginning of April, which is a lot later than I was originally thinking, but I know how I can just fiddle a teeny bit with the beginning to make it work. So I'm not, it's not that big a deal. I can mess with that. But let me get some lunch for myself. And then I'm going to go back and hopefully figure out that last act. After some finagling, I have updated my outline on the scene breakdown to show a slightly new order of events. I've also added at the top where I'm like, here's the point of view, here's the setting. I've also added date. So I'm going to go back through now and add all of my dates in. And make sure everything lines up the way it's supposed to. It should. And then it's after 2:30 at this point. So once I'm finished with that, then maybe I'll do some of that stuff that I talked about earlier. Opening image for scenes or character work for secondary characters. I haven't touched any of that. So let me quick write in all these dates and then I'll think of what I want to do next. All right, the dates are in. I don't want to look at a calendar anymore at this point. So it's 3 o'clock. I think what I'm going to do is, I do want to do some of that character work. I think I'm going to start trying to work on a character profile for the main character's younger sister. I'm going to use, of course, if you saw my video from like 2 weeks ago, I'm going to use this. I'll link the video below where I talked about how I was dumb and just left this on my shelf for like 13 years and didn't look at it. It's super helpful. So go check out that video where I explain this amazing questionnaire thing in the back. Anyway, I'm going to work on that. Not for a super long time, I don't think, because I am getting kind of like tired. I'm going to do that for now and hopefully have a better idea of that character, since she's the main character in the next book. Ooh, okay. It is almost 4 o'clock. I've worked a long time today. I'm very proud of myself. But it is time to stop because I am tired and I don't want to think anymore. So I'm going to stop. I did a little bit, not a ton of character work. I really sat here and just sort of did some brainstorming and just thinking about the character. I think she'll be a really interesting character to write. So I'm excited to keep going with the character questionnaire stuff and get to know her better as the weeks and months progress. For now, I am going to go ahead and end this. I hope you enjoyed seeing my little work day here. We are getting closer and closer to November. It's the 15th of October as I'm filming this, so we're exactly halfway through the month. I only have about 2 weeks left to get myself together and get ready to write on November 1st. Very exciting. How are you feeling? Tell me if you're doing NaNoWriMo. How are you progressing with your prep work? Are you feeling ready? Are you feeling behind? Are you feeling nervous? Let me know how you're doing with all that. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. I will see you on Tuesday with, I think it is the final Preptober video I have for you, which is going to be my top 10 NaNoWriMo tips. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!